This will be another raw video because Final Cut Pro, if anyone can fix this, won't let me log into my account so I can directly upload to YouTube. I have to save it to my desktop, which takes up so much space on my computer, and then upload it to YouTube. I just woke up, by the way. You can tell by my hair. So this video, I even wrote the excuses down on my whiteboard. This video is about the excuses your parents, your grandparents, and just overall people will make to you when they're bullshitting. So, let's get down to this. You're gonna like this video, wherever you are. So, the first one, I even wrote out a conversation that could happen. So I'll go out with the conversation first. Coffee, sugar, cigarettes, and big pharma, like drugs from the pharmacy, are not drugs. That's the dumb person talking. The response that I would give is, then why are they all sold in a drugstore? And if you don't live near a drugstore would be probably 7-Eleven, CVS, Long's, Walmart. They all have pharmacies built into them, and they all sell drugs. They require an ID, but they still sell drugs. They sell coffee, they sell sugary foods, they sell drugs. Then someone will say, I don't know. That's one of the excuses to respond if they know you're right, but they don't want to. Their ego doesn't let them admit that they're wrong. So here are some quick escapes that the parents will use when they know they're wrong, but they don't want to feel dumb around their kid or around someone younger than them who is more intuitive and intelligent. So here are the excuses. They'll just keep saying it. They aren't drugs. They'll just keep saying it. They won't respond to you. They won't respond back to you, which drives you crazy. I know it drives me crazy. They will get mad. This is one of the most well-known things a dumb person will do. They'll get mad. Because when someone who's dumb knows they're wrong, they'll get mad. As an scapegoat. If you don't know what a scapegoat is, it's just to escape. It's an excuse to escape. They ignore you completely. As in, what's the other one I said? Nothing. Nada. Like you didn't say anything. Which is probably the worst. They just tell you you're wrong even though you showed proof. You probably experienced that a lot. Now, here are some excuses that people make when they're bullshitting to you. I'm going to try to go fast with this. That way I can go get water and green tea. Yeah. Oh yeah. So, I wrote these really small so my grandma would not be able to read them. Because she does some of these. Just pointing that out now. I'm going to show you what the people say and what they actually mean. First one is, I can't help it. That's probably one of the ones that drives me crazy the most. They'll say, I can't help it. Then they will insert an excuse. Because this reason. The people who actually have no legs, there's a man who has no legs, no arms, and he looks like a fucking jelly bean. He goes fishing. He does all these things. He's a motivational speaker. You have no excuses. You're full of shit. Full of shit. Even the people who have CF or they're paralyzed, They have actual technology now that lets your legs walk. It's robotic. It attaches to your legs, and you have to use crutches still, but you're able to walk. There are some exceptions, like if you're completely paralyzed from the neck down, your brain doesn't work, then you probably just want to die. Just, yeah. I didn't have any time. That's what someone will say. I didn't have any time. That's one of the most biggest excuses that people use. I didn't have any time. Here's the thing. I grew up with an uncle who multitasked. He was a cop. He worked for 12 hours. Sometimes he even worked over 12 hours, overtime. And he still was able to come visit my grandma. He was still able to do things with his kids because it matters the person. Some will make excuses and some will do it, even if they have a lot of things that they're doing. They choose what they can do. It's their choice. Something came up and I had to change the plans. Okay. Nothing happens for just no reason, by just chance. Everything happens because you make it happen. So when a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, a friend says, sorry, I had to change the plan. I cannot fucking stand that. You chose to change the plan ahead of time. Something came up. I was supposed to have my baby on this day, but sorry you missed the birth, husband. It was early. But why was it early? There are so many factors that go into the things you do that affect what happens, affects the outcome. You made it happen. But then I'm going to get a bunch of people who are going to be like, I had no choice. I had no choice. It was just automatic, and it just happened. Your health, your almost everything you think, eat, do, say, it affects what happens. It affects the outcome. The body achieves what the mind believes. Yeah, if you constantly say, this chocolate bar is going to give me diabetes, I'm addicted, you're going to keep buying it until you get diabetes. And then you're saying, I couldn't help it. Full of shit. Let me turn my screen back on. Come on, screen. Come on, screen. Come on, screen. Come on. There we go. So, last but not least. I said it already. Yeah, that was the last one. We choose these problems. We choose them. We choose to make them happen. We choose to do them again. And sometimes you'll get the grin. No one will, my grandma does this. They disagree with you, but instead of actually just saying, I don't agree with your point, you can have a conversation and say, well, why? Oh, because of this reasons. But people to completely avoid the problem because they're scared to actually talk about the problem, they just go, or. They won't really want to talk to you, but they pretend like they do. Then they'll call you weird. Then they'll do all these things because they know that they're too afraid to actually converse about that subject. They don't want to talk about the subject you're talking about. Then a few minutes later, they'll tell you something, and it's like, I don't want to talk to you. You didn't listen to me. Why should I listen to you? My grandma mostly says, don't get revenge on people. It's not revenge. You just fucked me over. You said you didn't care what I just said, so why should I give a shit what you just said? Doesn't that make sense? Equal. You make things equal. No one is in control of someone else unless you let them be. Unless you allow them to be in control of you. That's why so many people are passive aggressive. Because they can get out how they're feeling at the same time to the person they don't like or they have a grudge against in some way. They can make a mean joke. It's like, just put a fake smiley face up, fucker, and then you'll just laugh with your friend when really you've got something against that person. Because if people if they truly loved each other and they truly liked each other 100%, they wouldn't need to be passive aggressive. They could just smile in the morning, be happy to talk to the other person. With passive aggressive people have lots of anxiety. I remember in high school when I was passive aggressive, and I would use the excuse, I'm passive aggressive because of my dad. I'm passive aggressive because this reason. If you have abusive parents, if you have mean parents, take a walk. Go somewhere. Don't be around them. Duh. And when you get home, and if you don't even have a room, I know I didn't, hide in your room. There is nothing wrong with not talking to your family. If you don't want to talk to your family, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated that you have to. If you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't have to. This society makes us need to speak to other people, or you're antisocial, or you're depressed. And the more you watch TV and see all these commercials that say, oh, are you depressed? Are you antisocial? A little off topic, but you don't need to believe everything you hear. And if you want to say something, just fucking say it. Seriously, just say it. If you live with a husband, or you live with a spouse, or both, or either one, or significant other, as in you're gay and you have butt sex. Sorry, I'm just kidding. Oh, I'm just kidding. Calm down. Calm the fuck down. Then you walk into the kitchen in the morning, your parent makes a rude comment to you. They're insecure. Because they would not have to make that insecure comment if they weren't insecure. Just the truth. If someone's passive aggressive towards you, they have a grudge against you, and if you want to talk about it, it won't work because they're just going to keep acting like everything's perfect, nothing's ever wrong. Sometimes you have to get your feelings out. Sometimes you have to express how you're feeling. You can only hold emotions in for so long until they explode. Mine have luckily already exploded, and I've told my grandparents everything I've been thinking, and that made my life. It made me feel so much better. And if they don't listen, you only say it one time. That way it enters into their subconscious. If you say it a bunch of times, their conscious mind will eventually block it out. I used to do this when I was a kid, and no one listened to me, because I would constantly, even towards adulthood, say the same thing, trying to get my point across, but no one would listen. So I eventually incorporated those ideas into comedy. If you make a joke with the point in it, or if you make a joke before you say your point, it lowers their defense. It lowers their fight or flight. So you're able to get a point across to them easier. Yeah. Okay, this is enough teaching for today. I'm going to upload this and everything's going to be hunky-dory. Goodbye, everyone, and good morning, by the way.